From wherever you tuned in this Word Cafe. It is a good day, a good Sunday that we've been able to breathe again by God. And today we have to listen to this story. It may help you, it may encourage you, you may learn something from our guest today. I will want us to hear his name, where he comes from, then we shall pick it from there. Karibu.
Thank you very much.
Kindly share your names.
My name is John Njoya. I was born in Mombasa, Majengo. Yeah.
Mombasa Majengo.
Mombasa, Majengo.
Tell me something. Everywhere you go in any major towns in Kenya, there is a place called Majengo. Maybe. Do you have any idea now that you were born and raised in Majengo?
I think they do share some common characteristics. You find Majengo is somehow nearness to the town center, and most likely it's some kind of a refuge place for people who are working somehow. I mean, Majengo can somehow represent a crosscut between citizens that come from various class, because it's some like, sort of a transition.
It's like a junction where the low class meets the upper class.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how I look at it.
Because there is Majengo in Nairobi, there's Majengo in Kisumu, there's Majengo even Nyeri should be having a Majengo everywhere. In Malindi there is Majengo. All right. Karibu kwenye Word Cafe.
Asante sana.
People are excited to listen from your story, to learn something from your story. We only see the stock market or financial markets. We have no idea. I think today we shall be learning something on financial markets. But before we go to the financial markets, while you were growing up, did you know that you will come to this financial market?
Yeah, that's kind of a complex question, but as far as I can remember, I was so much interested about some sort of a human settlement. As you see that I come from Majengo, it represents a center, some sort of a center of transition. So that somehow amazed me, because we can live citizens or rather people who belong to a different class, and as a result we tend to, when we are children, we tend to play together. We don't have that sense of the rich versus the poor, especially when we are meeting somewhere in a playground or something. But during the time when we go back to our places, our home, you find some are going back to their a little bit posher place, while others are going to just normal houses, one room. Others are, so this contrast somehow make me to develop interest to find what actually created it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uko sawa?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. You've talked of when we are children. When we are children. we don't have classification.
Absolutely.
We only play together. It's until you go back to where you belong is when classification hits your head.
Absolutely.
Kindly, please, when you were young, share to us, how was life like? Because I'm driving at something.
Life was good because, as I've earlier said, between the age of possibly the time when you were born up until you were about 7 years old, you seems to be taking each and every information in terms of you look at it as some sort of a play. You don't seem to be affected by accusation of something. You just live to cross the day. But once you started going to possibly 9 years and 12 years, then you start to see the difference. That is in my view. That's how I started to understand life. When you possibly visit a friend house, maybe they have a TV, and maybe at your place there is no TV.
Did you have a TV or use?
No, we didn't have a TV. We used to watch the TV from our neighbor house, something.
Okay. So like you go to the neighbor's home, you want to watch TV and they want to sleep, you have to go back home.
Absolutely.
How was like your social engagements, like church, mosque, school, primary? Actually, I'm interested in the story of you in your social life as a young child.
Okay, I can say, fortunately, unfortunately, I was.
It is fortunate.
It is fortunately. Yes. I was raised up by a single mother, and therefore, it's. I was like a child that belonged to the community.
Okay.
By then, when I was a child, and my mother is somehow very social.
Yes.
Therefore, each and every.
Is she still alive?
Yeah, she's still alive.
Good.
Each and every house that I happen to get into.
Pokea salamu mama, I know you'll be watching this. Your big son is talking.
Yeah. It's like I'm getting into another house that belonged to me. So life was, I feel like I was belonging to each and every house there in Majengo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could enter a Muslim house, Christian house, Hindu house.
Absolutely.
Majengo hosts a lot of cultures.
Yeah.
Which culture did you like most before you answer my question that I want to ask?
Majengo is predominantly Muslim, though I come from a Christian family, and we didn't see any sort of a discrimination or something. We just see as part of the family, and we were okay, and I highly appreciated that.
Okay.
So basically, Islamic values and cultures kind of play a big role in possibly making me to be who I am today.
The Islamic culture.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay.
I mean the values.
The values.
Of sharing. You can, if you find yourself in maybe your friend's place and it's time to eat, you can, it's not a big issue. It's not like today. Ever since this mushrooming of this sort of gated community, whereby movement in and inside your neighboring house is somehow restricted. Yeah. By that time, when we are living in those Swahili houses, a house that has got like 4, maybe 8 rooms or 7 rooms, when you your mother is cooking something using a jiko, once it's done that, your neighbor can literally using the same jiko and continue preparing
without a problem.
Without a problem. It was some sort of a social interaction between neighbors, and that's actually amazed me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you learned a lot from the community.
I learned a lot from the community.
Now, what is financial market? I don't know. I only see it on TV. I have no idea. Talk to me like a small boy.
Okay. When we talk about financial market, it's a market whereby financial instruments are being auctioned, or rather sold. It's a meeting point between the buyers and sellers of financial instruments. Yeah. Just like, for example, in Njoya, you go there, that's a Njoya, you go there to buy viazi or tomatoes and something like that. So in a financial market, you are actually looking to buy or sell financial instruments.
Which are?
A good example of financial instruments are stocks and bonds, currency, and some derivatives such as feature and option market. Those are some of the instruments that you can find in a financial market.
Currency, bonds, stocks.
Yeah.
Which was the other one?
And derivatives such as features.
Features.
And an option.
I'm almost getting it out of hand.
Okay.
Sasa, break it down to consumable data. When you talk of currencies, what are we exactly talking about?
When you talk of currency, we are all aware that each and every country is using different currency. For example, Kenya is using Kenyan shilling. United States is using the US dollar. And Japanese is using the Japanese yen. And Europe, they're using Euro coin. So those are currency that are actually used in those specific country. So they actually traded in financial markets.
Where is the Bitcoin in your line of explanation?
Bitcoin, I have not involved so much in trading Bitcoin, but what I know about it is a speculative instrument. It's one of the speculative instruments, which is a new form of a derivative, whereby it's use cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. As I've earlier said that I have not traded that much in Bitcoin. Therefore, that is how far I can talk about it.
So you know little about Bitcoin.
I know little about Bitcoin. I'm mostly major in generic instruments such as stocks, currency, and bonds.
So today we are learning about money or trading. Finance is money.
Absolutely.
So we are learning about money. And when did this come into you that you want to trade into these markets?
Okay. After finishing Form 4, I was basically an average student. And I was good in physics. I was good in. I was a little bit good in maths. I was a little bit good in physics, chemistry, business and commerce. So it was very difficult for me to trace exactly what I want to do outside. But as I've earlier said in my upbringing in Majengo, I was somehow amazed with the social living that is there. But as we go back to our home in the evening, we start to see that sort of different. So I was somehow keen, try to find out exactly what creates the different. And as I grow up, I tend to know that those who have more money seem to live a little bit, seems to be, they're easily able to access some basics needs of life. They can live in a better place. They can take their children to better school. And one day I was trying to somehow investigate or rather study human behavior. So I just took a walk very early in the morning. I normally like jogging. Very early in the morning I went to the bridge, the other side of the Nyali bridge. And I saw humans are moving from Bamburi and they are coming to town in large number. There are those people who are using cars, those who are using matatu, those are using bicycles, and those of course who are walking, those who are walking.
In Kikamba we say malame na ngali, malame na katulutulu, malame na tukutuku.
Absolutely.
Malama kisululu.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, why do people move this way? Why everybody's moving this outside? And in the evening, the same day, I was somehow just keen to understand why humans behave the way they behave. So in the evening, the same day, I went to the same place. That was in the morning, they're moving this side. And in the evening, when I went back there, I saw the same movement. But again, it's moving the other way around. People are moving this other side. Then I asked myself very important question. Why is, and this trend is almost every day. In the morning, people move this way. And in the evening, they move this way. And it's almost kind of carrying the same characteristics. So I kind of find out that they're moving this way because maybe they're going to the working place. They're going to work and then they're going to do business. Then yes, they're going to do business, they're going to work. So what are they looking? As they are doing business, as they're working, what are they exactly looking for? Basically, they're looking for money. So I came to realize that money is a driving force behind human behavior and even human movement. And that is when I developed interest to study anything to do with finance, economics, or money for that matter.
So what did you find out?
I found out that it's a center of attraction of every human being, and it's just that. Now, in order for you to get more of it, then you have to know more of what you're doing, because what you're doing is a process of you accessing money. For example, if you're a doctor, you do it better. Your service get more demand, then you're being paid more. If you're an engineer, you concentrate with that, and you put all your mind on that, and therefore you get more of that. But again, I say, okay, well, why don't I study about the same thing the doctors, the engineer, and whatever the profession want. Then I started to study that center of attraction, which is money. That's how I look at it. Yeah.
Before we exit the bridge story, people moving one direction, and in the morning, then in the evening they move to the opposite direction.
Absolutely.
Did you find that a problem?
No, I find that is a very predictable pattern, which if I'm able to tap on human behavior, I may somehow be able to extract some human intention. And then is where I realized that a financial market has actually zeroed in all that. Because in my view, I look at financial market as a price making, I don't know whether to call it a factory or something. It's a price-making mechanism, whereby a human decision come into an agreement. Absolutely. For example, you want to buy a car. You sell it maybe at 600,000, and a buyer want to give you 500,000, and somehow there's that discussion back and forth, and then somehow you meet at a center that is, maybe I give you 550. So the willing buyers and the willing sellers, they meet at a certain point. And that point is when I was in school, come to understand that they normally call it an equilibrium price. A price whereby the buyers and the sellers have actually agreed. So if I can be able to think in such a way that I can be able to predict an equilibrium price, then I'm able to predict human behavior. Yeah.
Okay. I know financial markets locally, we only see it in less than 3 minutes on local news stations. Either 2 minutes or 1 minute. So personally, I've never understood how it works. This is locally. How does it work on an international scale? Because locally, okay, maybe you can bring me to understand locally, but my interest is on international scale.
International scale. I think, for example, let's look at Safaricom for that matter. By the time when Safaricom issue IPO, initial purchasing offer, by that time Safaricom share was 5 shilling. I remember I participated on that. I bought it. That was a long time ago.
Let's divert it a little bit.
Yes.
Tuanzie hapo, pa share ya Safaricom ilikuwa shilingi 5.
Absolutely.
You participated?
Absolutely. I was very young by the time, involved in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you participate because people are participating, or it's a choice you made?
As I've told you, since earlier, I had that interest to do with what finance, or rather what money is all about. And I know financial market has to do with that. It has some kind of an answer for me. So when Safaricom by that time used to be quite an interesting company. Almost every Kenyan was actually aware of what is going on in the stock exchange. Therefore, I wanted to be part of the owner. I mean, because if you own a share, you become you own part of that company.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So Safaricom inakuwa ni yako.
Absolutely.
Kakipande kadogo.
Based on that small part that you have purchased. Yeah.
5,000 ilikuwa inanunua shares ngapi?
5,000 by that time you just take basically is it 5,000 divided by 5? That is, I think it's is it 100 share?
Yeah,
it's 100 share. Yeah. So you have your 100 share.
Because you understand this business, this share came from 5 shillings to 1 shilling. What do you think could have led to this?
There are several factors that can cause share to go down. One is if the company is operating at a loss. 2, if there is a low demand of their service, which will lead to low sale, which again it will lead to low profitability, or rather loss. and also if there is some kind of managerial issue, maybe some misinformation, or rather some sort of a managerial issue. Maybe a manager is somehow corrupt, or maybe some sort of favoritism that is there, or some kind of a shady deals exist in that company, that can make the share of a firm to plummet. Yeah.
To me, loss or low profitability is not the case, because Safaricom always posted their profits in the billions.
Absolutely.
The other thing, we can't say there was low in demand for their products and services. We've always used it. People have always used it.
I was basically responding. I was basically responding to your question, because it's your question was some kind of a shock. You said from 5, it went down to 1. I was like, I was anticipating that you said it go to 10. That would be easier.
No, it went low.
It went low. So if it went low, that can be. Those are the parameters, the factors that can cause a firm to lose value of its share.
So to chase the chini too.
Absolutely. If that happened, then one of the things that I've mentioned contributed to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
People lost money in this thing. I don't know if you still own shares there.
No, I sold it when it was 6 bob.
Holy Jadu. Like you bought today, you sold it tomorrow.
Yeah, because it went up to about 7 to 8 and then come down, and then that by that time I didn't know anything about trading. I just dumped my cash there. You understand? So when it went down, I was excited. When it started to come down, I said, oh, before it's reached 5, let me sell. But if it was today, the fact that the way I understand financial market, what happened is I wish I got it when it was 1 bob, because I didn't understand that the market cannot always go up. The market normally goes up and down. The market can never go in a straight line because of, as I've said, human behavior. By the time the market is going up, there are those who are now taking profit, and there are those who are excited. The market is going up, they buy more. And there are those who are some sort of a big bank who are now, they're capitalizing. People are now getting in. Let's sell so that we can attract more liquidity down there. Eventually we can buy. Those are technique in trying to maneuver into somehow getting good value of how you buy your shares.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a second. I need to. All right. Now, okay. Yeah, that one is done. Financial stock or financial markets. What motivated you? You said was the struggles of life and the way you saw people.
Absolutely.
What are the achievements you've achieved?
Wow, that's a very good question. One thing, I know so many people look at achievement in terms of monetary value, and I'm lucky that can you mention to where I also work or something?
If you wish,
that's
but
okay,
we can keep it low profile.
Fine, we can keep it low profile. That's okay. I have made.
So you have a salaried income every month?
Absolutely.
All right.
And I managed to buy a house, and I'm also able to help my family, and I also managed to take myself to the university and educate myself up to and then I graduated, and I happened to buy a matatu. There's a time I bought a matatu and tried
Bamburi sound.
Kingorani Bamburi.
Okay.
And another one Magongo Ferry. There were two. So I bought a matatu and participated in matatu business. And yeah, I've done a lot. I'm having shares. I've saved in our cooperative. Yeah, I have educate my children, go to schools, and I think I'm okay. I'm financially okay.
Okay. What don't we know about international money trading?
International money trading. You mean forex trading?
Yes. What don't we know? Not even forex, the financial market.
The financial market. Yes. What don't we know? Okay.
Yani we have no idea.
What we don't know, possibly, from the way I look at it, is most people are so much attracted to the graphs. For those who are doing forex trading, they know what I mean by that. There are some there's a graph come for another application known as MT4 or MT5 or maybe TradeView, or maybe there are several platforms. So most people approaching forex trading by looking at those graphs, and those graphs have a certain pattern in which sometimes it shows maybe the price is going up, and therefore they told you that if the price is overbought, then it's time to sell, or maybe if the graph is oversold, maybe it's the time to sell. So what people don't know is those graphs are basically a representation of the price of that instrument or currency at that point in time. But I've seen what most people don't know is that those price value are representing a country, and a country is like some sort of a company, because a country has a way in which it's managed its economy. For example, the productivity of that country, which is being measured by the GDP, and that GDP of a country determines the value of that particular currency. So not most people are interested in trying to find out what is the GDP of the country, which represent the total production of that country, and also factors such as interest rates of that country, inflation of that country, actually affect the value of the country. For example, if the GDP of the country is high, it means there is a lot of demand of the currency of that country. Therefore, the chances of that country values going up are high. And at the same time, if the country interest rate is high compared to the counter country, then a country with a higher interest rate would normally have a strong currency. The currency will go up in value. And then there is an element of inflation. Inflation, which is a topic at the moment in our country and even globally. Inflation is basically erosion of purchasing power of that money. That means if there is a higher inflation, it means that the money is losing value, because you keep on using the same amount of money in buying the same unit that you should have otherwise buy by lesser units of that same currency. So what I think most people don't know is that those parameters, such as the economic variables of a country are actually the determining factor of what is moving the value of a country, of a currency, either up or down, vis-a-vis just predicting a value of a currency based on the chart pattern. Yeah. Although I'm not in any way trying to undermine the importance of charts. They have their place in which they are also equally important. Yeah.
All right. There must be some water for you. Okay. Umeona ukunywe maji. Tunaongea pesa wajua.
Asante sana.
Tunaongea pesa.
Good.
Nijaze half full or half empty?
Somewhere in between.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Karibu. Ladies and gentlemen, tuko Bustan Cafe and Restaurant. Bustan with a B and Bustan with an N without an I at the end. A home of pizza. Remember, we are live on Word Cafe, Facebook, Word Cafe, YouTube. Tuko naye bwana John Njoya sharing about international money market. Being born and raised in Majengo. Is Majengo a slum or middle class or low class? Or tuachane na hiyo story.
I don't think Majengo is a slum. As I've said, Majengo is a representation of a cross.
Oh.
It's a meeting point between possibly the upper class and the lower class.
Okay.
Is a neutral area in which society can coexist, being blind of their financial or other social status.
It's a comfort zone.
is basically, wow, is a comfort zone. Yes, somehow it is a comfort
There's
zone.
food. People coexist without problems. Yeah.
I can't say people. Of course, there will be some issue here and there, especially when these people come from different dynamic setups. There will always be some kind of a friction. But eventually, by nature of them being human, they will always find a way in neutralizing the situation.
I want to ask us, it may be a simple question, but not.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, watu walikuona aje ama watu walikuangalia aje? How did people take you or value you, and how are they taking you today? Hiyo utofauti nataka kujua kama iko ama hakuna.
Wow. That's
Ni ngumu.
It's very difficult to try to interpret what people view me.
When you were young,
but I can basically project what I feel they think about me.
Yes.
That's what I can say. But what they view about me, I don't know. So what
Talk to me.
I think people human beings are guided by two factors. The pain and pleasure. So in your interaction, if you are causing pain to people, somehow people will tend to avoid you. And in your interaction, if you're causing pleasure to people, making people laugh, people are happy, then somehow people will like you. So generally, I think I'm too conscious into the feeling of other people. Therefore, I try the best I can to make sure that my interaction is somehow balanced, to make sure that the ratio between me participating in creation of pain in our interaction is minimized to the lowest, and I maximize pleasure into them, because that is the only way of becoming useful to the society. So I'm a little bit sensitive into how I affect the feeling of possibly my friends, and I'm a bit sensitive. Although it's very difficult to please everybody, but due to that, I think people are generally friendly as long as you're good to them, and there are some also unfriendly if you're not good to them. So it's all depend on you as a person. Yeah. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's how I feel.
Turudi kwa mambo ya stock.
Yeah.
How will one know that it's right time to buy?
One thing I learned about financial markets is it's very difficult to predict the movement of a stock in a short time. Let's say like a week or maybe a day or even a month. But it's very easy to predict it in long term. Like for example, in 6 months or in 1 year, that one is very easy. So those people who have adapted long-term strategy, they always embark winners and even making good money in the financial market. But the majority of humans are naturally impatient. They want things to come up today and today. So due to impatience, most people tend to lose money in the stock market. But those people who are patient, they indeed make a lot of money in the financial market. If I can quote one of the best financial market trader, and he was once the richest man in the world, Warren Buffett, when he was told to define financial market. He was basically saying that a financial market is an instrument whereby it's taking money from the impatient and give money to the patient people. So that's how I look at financial markets.
Taking money from the impatient to the patient.
To the patient, yeah. That's the mechanism.
Okay.
Yeah. Impatient people, once they involve in the stock market, they unknowingly participate in actually transfer the same wealth to people who are patient. Yeah.
Okay. Did someone hold your hand into financial markets, or you just went in like, let's give it a try?
To be honest, we have a little bit touched on my background, but this is how I used to behave when I was young. I remember there's a place in Kingorani, it's called Ndovo. It's a maskan whereby old people normally sit there and watching news. So I normally like going there watching news also. And by the time when the VOK, remember the VOK? They were watching news during the time of that time of politics. That place is packed. But when business news start, everybody woke up and they go away. They're not interested with the Soko la Hisa or something. That is the time I'm very interested now, because I say that is the time I can get chance to get the front seat, because not so many people like to watch the business news. But I was so much attracted
Which
to
is normally very little time on it.
Absolutely, and I develop a lot of interest into that. Yeah, I don't know why, but I tend to like things that people tend to avoid, because I think there is where the opportunity is. I don't know how to describe that, but that's what I came to realize about life.
So you are at Maskan, politics, news, maisha, money market, or business news.
Everybody stand and go.
You move to the front
and then I move to the
seat.
front and look
Now
at it.
you listen to the finance.
And then I listen to what is happening. I like to sing those figures, those graphs or something.
Then
like
at
that.
the end, forex rate, exchange rate.
Normally it's followed by international news, the BBC by that time. So, and then coming sports news. So I also was developing interest in international news. by that time, that's basically what I can say. So maybe I developed interest when I was fairly young. Yeah.
I wish to bring this show to a close, but before we close, you said you work. You have children to look after.
Absolutely.
You have to wake up and go walking or jogging.
Jogging, yeah, in the morning.
At what time do you trade? Or is it something that you have to fly out to go and kama Kongoya lazima uende Kongoya. So hii yenu, hii ya international hii mnaenda wapi, Japan? Ama how, at what time do you ama unapata time saa ngapi ya kufanya hizi shughuli za money market?
That's a good question. I think I can answer this way. There are basically about 4 big stock market in the world. There's a New York Stock Exchange,
New York,
and there is a London Stock Exchange, and there's also Nasdaq, but again there's Japan, the Tokyo Stock Exchange. So all these.
Hii Nairobi tunaona kwa TV kila siku, mbona hujasema?
I mostly trade international markets.
But Japan is a country, whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Even South Africa has got its own stock exchange.
But
because of the liquidity, those stock exchanges that I've mentioned are the biggest. So
New York, Tokyo.
At around 3 a.m. Is it 3 at around 3 a.m. That is when Tokyo Stock Exchange is open. So by that time I'm normally awake.
3 a.m. Kenyan time.
Absolutely. That is the time when it's open. So by that time I'm awake. I try to look at the charts and see the behavior of the market, and at the same time to see if the mood of the market in terms of the market sentiments, and if there is any breaking news in Asian area. So that is the most important time. So that will take me about 45 minutes to check on that. Online, yeah.
Okay.
I have a trading room at my place.
You have your own trading room?
Absolutely.
With a big screen, Wi-Fi?
About how many screens? About 3 screens and a laptop, and 2 laptops.
Those are 5 screens?
Absolutely.
New York, Tokyo. The other one was?
The other one was the London Stock Exchange. Yeah.
Okay. Cairo hakuna ndani?
No.
Africa kunayo ile inauzwa?
No.
Ya nguvu? Hakuna.
The liquidity is too low. So those are the mega stock exchange in the world.
Okay.
So by the time when it's around is it 11 a.m.
in Kenya?
Around 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. that is the time when the London Stock Exchange is open.
During the day now?
During the day now.
In Kenya?
That is the time when Europe...
but at this point you are working? You are in office or somewhere?
Yeah, I'm lucky. The nature of my work can give me that flexibility to do that.
Okay.
And I'm also very disciplined in terms of by the time when I don't have anything to do, I either study or go jogging or go to the beach or rather sleep. Yeah. You have a very confined life.
So at 3 a.m. you have to wake up?
You have to wake up and take a look at the market.
After 45 minutes you go back to sleep?
After 45 minutes I pray, and then after pray I go jogging, and then after jogging once in a while I go to Nyali Beach to swim.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that I come back home, I sleep. That is the day when I'm off at work.
Okay.
Or maybe that is the day when I'm somehow off at work. Okay. That is how.
When you are not working.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the other stocks that you haven't mentioned, what timings are they traded?
At around 4 p.m. Now the American market is open.
The New York stock.
The New York stock is opening at that time. It is very important you to be uh, uh, on a trading room during that time, because normally when the market open, there's normally some sort of a volatility, which somehow give you a clue of what the market sentiment is. And at the same time, it might be accompanied by some sort of a breaking news or something. So you are always supposed to be vigilant in order to be in line with what is currently happening around the globe.
Maybe as we end this show, I want you to touch on the rate of inflation in our home country, and what do you think is causing it? Now that you understand how money works, kindly share some light on that.
Yeah, in my view, I think first of all we have this ever increasing oil price, which is causing most of the price of basic goods to go up, because the oil permeate into each and every product, including transportation. If the transport is expensive, then somehow it's affecting almost everything. Yeah. Second, I think some sort of I think Corona, because we're just from Corona during the time when our country was heavily affected by this pandemic. By the time of Corona, our government spent a lot of money, because the production in our country were not to the optimal. So the central bank was forced to reduce interest rate in order to encourage industry to keep on staying afloat. And also there is that element of giving money to the less fortunate. That was money that was coming from the central bank, and that money flooded the market, and there was a lot of circulation of money into the market, because money has to go hand in hand with production. But if money is being poured to the general population at a time when the goods and services are not being produced, then the ratio between availability of money and availability of goods tend to go far apart. So when there's a lot of money in the market and there are too few goods, so there is an element of too much money chasing after few goods. So that has a tendency of making things expensive. That also somehow trigger inflation. And also I think the debt ratio of our country, the debt revenue ratio of our country, I think our country has borrowed heavily. So every financial year it's being obligated to pay the debt, and ever increasing currency value of international currency, then we are forced to pay more. And in the process, government has to look away of getting money from its citizen and pay the debt. That means that they are forced somehow to increase some taxes somehow, and this caused some price of goods to go up. And then also I think the issue of election normally creates anxiety, creates some sort of fear to international investors. So when international investors are somehow holding up, waiting for election, a smooth transition of election, after election maybe they start pouring the money, so they will start to invest. So I think election fear is also triggering to that price increase, because if international investors are pulling money out of the stock market, because the participant of international investors is about 60 to 70% in our Nairobi Stock Exchange. Yeah. Currently, we are talking of it has actually crossed the 50 psychological level. Now their participation is about 49 to 48, which represent an approximately almost 300 billion out of our stock market. And because of that, it has pushed down the price of the big cap, the blue chip in our country. Their shares now are traded almost 20% low. from the beginning of this year. So such dynamics, such economic events are actually causing this inflation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wish to let you go.
Thank you.
If you were given a chance to work at the treasury, what can you change?
If I'm given a chance to work at the treasury, I think the first thing I will do is government is a big spender. For example, I'll give you a good example. Since March, the government has allocated about 31.7 billion to subsidize, or rather to cushion Kenyans against the ever increasing oil price. So monthly, the government is spending about 7.5 billion to subsidize the oil marketer. They're actually being paid. Kenya don't know that anytime you go to the fuel station, you buy 1 liter of fuel, the government is actually pay for you about an average of about 20 shilling. Yeah. So this has caused an eyebrow to the World Bank. They're actually questioning Kenyans.
So today the petrol is at 160 or 157,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it is supposed to be 170 something.
Yeah, it is supposed to be about 170 something, but the government is chipping in.
Maze countries zingine iko shilingi 6 per liter.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about the dynamics of other countries, but what happened is that the government is doing a good thing. But again, the World Bank is worried about that because it seems to be consuming almost 3% of our GDP so far. So basically, what happened here is the 31.7 billion is channeled to a handful of companies. So that is where our president, there's a time our president was complaining that I have pump a lot of money into the economy, and this money don't seems to be reaching the citizen. And I think one of the main reason why the money doesn't reach the citizen is because that deployment of money is also going to the handful of oil marketers, or rather bigger cap company. So maybe I don't know, there's an element of monopolization in how government has good intention, but the setup of our private corporation and all kind of stuff, I think there is where there's some issue. Therefore, given a chance, I think I will look very keenly into see the penetration of the same exchequer's funds into small companies.
All right, asante.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we were being lectured or being, niseme kwa Kiswahili, Kizungu inanitatiza. Tulikuwa tunaelimishwa kwa English, I could have said being educated. Tulikuwa tunaelimishwa kuhusu mambo na international financial market na Bwana John Njoya. I wish to have him back again kwa sababu I feel there's a lot I can learn, we can learn from him, matters financial, and especially where matters economy is concerned. So may God keep you. Tumekuwa tuko live kutoka Bustani Cafe and Restaurant. May God keep you and give you good health till we meet again. Kwa heri for now.
Thank you.